Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of September 24th to the 30th, though, and we got 4 stories to cover, including Sony unfortunately getting hacked this week. Another story with Sony, and it's, as the reported, as Jim Ryan is officially retiring from Sony, though. A report that seemed to point to RDR 2 might have been coming to the Switch, but a recent update seemed to indicate that might not be true at all. And a big shakeup at Platinum Games with Hideki Kamiya basically leaving the company and all. And if you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description down below. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cent stories that caught my attention, but not going to go into a huge amount of details, though. The first one is that there is a report that's coming out that's saying that Capcom would gracefully decline in the event of a Microsoft buyout. I'm sure you're probably aware of Microsoft has been buying a lot of studios lately. They are in the process of closing Activision Blizzard and all. Maybe, years ago, Capcom might have been up for sale because they were really in a tough spot or everything like that. But given the success we've seen, especially with games like Monster Hunter have been doing very well, and other games like the Resident Evil remakes and Resident Evil Village and all, it doesn't sound like, I don't think Capcom's going to be up for sale anytime soon, unless they are in financial ruins or anything like that. But for now, where Capcom is, I don't blame them if they decline any kind of buyout, whether it's from Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo, for that matter. We also learned that several Switch fans have now filed a class action lawsuit over the KOTOR 2 DLC. This had to do with a mod or fan-made DLC for Knights of the Old Republic 2, but it was canceled for the Nintendo Switch, and so they decided to offer, a free update or a free game or anything else to download. Well, apparently it seems that some Switch fans and some gamers aren't appreciating that with the Switch version, have decided to file basically this lawsuit against the developers. Now, whether this lawsuit goes through or not, that remains to be seen, though. We've seen similar lawsuits before in the past. I'm sure most of you remember the whole Alien Colonial Marines debacle, where several gamers filed a lawsuit against Gearbox and Sega for their claims of misleading them over the development of Alien Colonial Marines and how that all played out and everything like that. We also learned that, unfortunately, Epic Games is reporting to lay off nearly 900 employees and everything like that. This reports that there have not been some great decisions. Fortnite isn't generating, still generating money, not on the same scale it is, which also at the same time they're raising the price for a lot of the V-Bucks for Fortnite and everything like that. Very unfortunate what's happening to those employees, though. I hope they are able to find another job soon and everything like that. We also learned that Sonic Superstars, though, supposedly will be running at 60 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch. If that is true, I think that is certainly great, though. I think a game like that, I think I could see running at 60 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch and all, which is certainly nice considering we've seen some games that have been ported to the Switch where, while some are understandable because of, the Switch and everything like that, others I feel like they could have pulled it off and have it run at 60 frames per second, though. So certainly nice if this report's true of Sonic Superstar running at 60 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch. We also learned that the FTC is planning to continue their challenge over the takeover of the Activision Blizzard deal by Microsoft and all. I have a feeling the FTC will not succeed on this one. While I think there are some areas where I will agree with the FTC, there are some areas I don't 100% agree with them, and I just feel like this one I don't think has a very good chance. I think Microsoft most likely will try to close the deal before October 18th, though, and so I really don't see any way this attempt by the FTC is actually going to work. I could be wrong. I'm not a legal expert or anything like that, but given the CMA is more in favor of letting this deal go through now, I seriously have doubt the FTC will win this one, though. We also learned that Creative Assembly has confirmed laying off several employees, though, after it's reported their live service game that they were working on hiatus has now been officially canceled. The game has not been out or anything like that. Again, very unfortunate for a lot of these employees, though, and I hope they are able to find, jobs and everything like that. But I think it also kind of highlights the downside to these live service type of games, that not everyone's going to have the time to spend their money on these type of games, though. I mean, I'm not saying live service games can't exist, but it's very hard to convince people to spend their time and money on a lot of these live service type games. And I do hope, basically, that a lot of these developers, particularly these AAA ones, that this is a wake-up call for them, that we cannot continue constantly putting out live service after live service type of a game. I'm looking at you, both Sony and Ubisoft as well. We also learned that the game director for Cyberpunk 2077 has confirmed that the update 2.0 to Phantom Liberty will be the last big update for Cyberpunk 2077, which is a little bit unfortunate, to be exact, though. Obviously, Cyberpunk 2077 got off to really not the best start, and it did kind of hurt CD Projekt's Red's reputation, but I don't deny the fact the game has rebounded, though. I think the update, especially the one around when Cyberpunk Edge Runner appeared on Netflix, definitely helped save that series, though, and the game is in a much better position than when it was when it originally launched, though. The 2.0 update I really do like. They changed, some of the updates and the upgrades to your character, and also it certainly is good. So we'll just have to wait and see what's next for, the series and all that. We know they're moving to Unreal Engine 5 now, and we know that a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077 is going to happen. So, I mean, the future is still bright for the series, though, but it is a little unfortunate that it's not going to get the same kind of, or the exact same kind of treatment, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt did when that game come out, though. And last but not least, there was a report basically that indicated that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake may have been canceled, and this had to do with the announcement trailer for the game, and that's been delisted, though. Well, recently an update to some of the story has been made, or at least this one from Game Radar, that seemed to have a spokesperson for Sony basically saying that the reason the trailer was taken down was due to a licensing issue, a music license issue to be exact. Now, could that be true? I mean, that's a possibility and all, but given that we've heard next to nothing about the remake outside of that, the original developer Asperzi, if I'm saying the name correctly, has been let go on that, and Saber Interactive is handling that, combined with Embracer Group being not in the best position after that $2 billion deal fell apart, which led to several layoffs of some employees, to cancellation of projects, to even companies like Voltron being shut down for good, and Gearbox probably being up for sale. I just can't help but shake the feeling that there is a very good chance this game could be canceled. I could be wrong, and it could come back and everything like that, but right now I would say things aren't exactly looking good for this Knights of the Old Republic remake and all. And in the movie and TV side of our Quick My Two Cent, though, we learned that the writer's strike apparently has struck a deal with a lot of the studios and all, which I think is certainly good that they're able to negotiate and certainly come to basically a conclusion so they can get back to, writing stuff for a lot of us shows to watch, whether it's streaming or so forth, though. I do believe that they still have to handle the actor's strike, though, but it's nice to see that they are definitely handling this, though. So hopefully this means that production will get started soon. It remains to be seen if some of these movies and all that got pushed back because of the writer strikes are able to hit their original release date, or they will stay to their new release date. For example, Dune Part 2 was supposed to come out in November, but that got pushed into next year because of the writer strikes that happened at this time. We also learned that Netflix has showed off some of their trailer for their upcoming, animated series that they'll be showing off. They showed one, I think, called Blood Dragon, which is part of the Far Cry series. They showed off also trailers for Tomb Raider and Devil May Cry and all. I did watch some of the teaser trailer for this, though. Certainly has caught my interest. I'm definitely going to be taking a look at it, though. I will say Netflix's adaptations of video games, doing them on the shows, have been kind of a hit and miss. Some like Dragon Dogma and Resident Evil didn't exactly go as well, or gotten sort of a mix or not great response. But others like basically Cyberpunk Edge Runner and Witcher have done very well though. So I'm very curious to see how these will do when they basically eventually do come out though. We also learned, this is more on the hip-hop side, somewhat of the music side, but one that's kind of very interesting is that it's apparently a suspect has been arrested in Las Vegas for the 1996 death of famous hip-hop rapper Tupac Shakur though. No word at this time what's going on though. I'll have the article from Deadline in the description though, but it's pretty amazing that took this long to finally get a suspect for something like this though. I mean, I'm wondering if we'll hear something very similar to, does this open the door to the possibility that we could see an arrest for, unfortunately the killing of the Notorious B.I.G. and all, if I'm saying the name correctly and all. So very interesting to hear that they have a suspect in custody over the 1996 death of famous rapper Tupac Shakur and all. And last but not least, actor Michael Gambon has unfortunately passed away though. He basically played Dumbledore, if I'm saying the name correctly, in the Harry Potter movies, but he's also starred in other shows and movies and everything like that though. I believe he was 92. I apologize if I get the age wrong and everything like that though. Though I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, I will say that my heart does go out to his friends, his family, and fans, especially those who enjoyed him playing that character in the Harry Potter movies and all. Okay, with the Quick My 2 Cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the announcement of Hideki Kamiya basically retiring, or at least retiring from Platinum Games. Now, most people will recognize that name as he is one of the folks that would help work on several games like, classics like the Resident Evil 4, the original, not the remake, to games, like Beautiful Joe, Devil May Cry, Okami, God Hand, and then sort of break out in when he helped form the studio Platinum Games, where he would work on several titles like Mad World, the Bayonetta series, which is series that he helped create. He would also do basically games like the Wonderful 101, to basically even working on Switch exclusive, help produce with Switch exclusive Astro Chain, though, good game to be exact though, and one that we haven't heard much since, and that is basically Project GG and all. But at the same time, he's also been kind of a controversial figure to a certain degree. He's known to troll a lot of people and even block a lot of people on X, formerly known as Twitter though, and to some degree that I kind of view that as a turnoff, because it makes it kind of difficult to take him very serious. I know some may say, oh, it's his personality and all, but to me, I feel like that argument can go that argument can only go so far. Regardless of how you view him though, there's no doubting he certainly has left his mark in the gaming world and everything like that. Well, recently it has been revealed that he will be basically stepping down and leaving Platinum Games, a studio that he helped create following when he left Capcom and all. In an article from Insiders Gaming though, it basically reads that, quote, in a bit of surprise earlier this week, Platinum Games co-founder and vice president Hideki Kamiya, if I'm saying the name correctly, has announced that he is leaving the company. The news comes via a social media post by both the studio and Kamiya himself. This is what Platinum had to say. Quote, we regret to announce that Hideki Kamiya will be leaving Platinum Games on October 12th, 2023, the studio said. We are truly grateful for his creative idea, leadership, and contribution to the growth of Platinum Games from our startup to this very day. We believe that he will continue to succeed in his future endeavors as a game creator. We are looking forward to seeing the game industry go into a better place with him in it. We wish him all the best for the future. And this is what he had. As for the reason why Canary said he had to do with his own belief. This comes as a lot of consideration based on my own belief, and was by no means an easy decision to make, he said. However, I feel this outcome is for the best. I will continue to create in my Hideki Kamiya way. I hope you keep your eyes peeled and all. So it is kind of a bit of surprise and a little bit unfortunate to be exact though. But I mean, it will be very interesting to see what direction he decides to go, especially, you know, if he decides to start up a new studio or anything like that, or if he ends up going to, say, companies like, say, NetEase or any like that. We know the creator of the Yakuza series left Sega and basically went over to NetEase, although he does say the series is in good hands. So we'll see what happens with him. There's no doubt about it that his persona has been known to be somewhat controversial and has been outspoken before, though. But I am very curious to see what direction he decides to go going forward, though. I am curious. I'm hoping that he tends to approach it hopefully not on the same level that Keiji Inafune did when he left Capcom, and, you know, the whole Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter concept debacle, how that all played out and everything like that. So we'll see what he does, though. I am kind of curious, though. Hopefully we'll see what other game he's working on, and who knows, maybe it will make its way over to, you know, like the Switch successor and everything like that. As for Platinum, right now it remains to be seen what direction Platinum will technically go. There has been reports about them possibly being, you know, bought out or everything like that. Personally, if they do get bought out, though, and I know some may or may not agree with me on this, but I think Nintendo should buy Platinum, mostly due to the fact that I feel like those two do have a very good relationship and everything like that. Again, who knows if that will happen or not. It remains to be seen, but again, that's sort of my take on that matter, though. So overall, no doubt about it that Hideki Kamiya is definitely a good game producer and everything like that. He's produced a lot of classic games that I enjoy, but there's no doubt about it. He's also a very controversial individual as well, though, especially with his history of blocking people on X, formerly known as Twitter. I do wish him the best of luck, and I am very curious to see what other games he might have made, what games he might make in the foreseeable future and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with a report about Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Nintendo Switch with an update that seemed to have come out that kind of sounds like this may have been a typo or a mistake on let's just say the Brazil rating systems part, though. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, I'm going to be talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 on possibly on the Nintendo Switch, with an update to the story that came out this week, though. Now, as some of you are fully aware of, Red Dead Redemption, the first one, did manage to make its way to the Switch somewhere around the summer, though, with a physical version supposedly planned for next month, or in October, to be exact, though. Now, but there have been some talks about, or at least some rumors, pointing to the possibility of Red Dead Redemption 2 could be making its way to the Switch. Some of the ones that I've heard of was that supposedly a controller was shown up, which many view was probably for the Steam version, that looked like the Nintendo Switch Pro controller and all, and that led to many speculations that the game could be making its way to the Nintendo Switch. Now, it was never confirmed that the game was coming, though, and even if the game were to come to the Switch, many believe that the game would have to be very serious compromises to make that game come to the Nintendo Switch. And while we've seen impossible ports make their way over, games like Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, Witcher 3: Wild Hunt are good examples, though. Red Dead Redemption 2 would probably be one that would be interesting to see if they were able to pull it off, though. But to me, I always felt like the first Red Dead Redemption had a better shot making its way to the Switch than Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, Sometime this week, though, there was an original report that indicated that basically that someone found that Red Dead Redemption 2 basically was spotted on a Brazilian rating boards, though, and it was basically was shared with social media, but it wasn't clear when the Switch version was added to it. Some speculated that at the time that it could be the cloud version, but there are claims that the Brazilian rating board doesn't normally rate the cloud version. Well, earlier this week, though, it seemed that there may have been a change to that, though, as the article from Nintendo Live, but with an update, they point out the following quote: "The classification for the Switch version of Red Dead Redemption 2 is no longer shown on the Brazilian rating board. It appears that the addition may have been a simple mistake due to the recent release of the very first entry on Switch. Either way, we have to admit we are a little relieved. We can't imagine what kind of compromise might have been necessary to get Red Dead Redemption 2 running on the Switch." Now, it is worth pointing out, Rockstar has not said anything as to recording this video at this time, though. Now, could this have been a typo on their part? I mean, yeah, I cannot deny the fact that this might have been a mistake on the Brazilian rating board, that they may have been referring to the first Red Redemption, not the second Red Dead Redemption 2. But at the same time, could it be also a possibility that they may have jumped the gun a little bit, and that fact that maybe it could be coming to the Switch, but they're not ready to announce it, though? I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility. Is the possibility that maybe it wasn't supposed, maybe there were plans to announce the game for the Switch, but it wasn't supposed to come, but maybe it wasn't supposed to be up there and all. So, but either way, though, it does seem like right now it doesn't sound like Red Dead Redemption 2, or at least at the very moment, doesn't seem to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, do I think they could bring Red Dead Redemption 2 over to Nintendo's platform? Yes, I think that there is a good chance. I believe that they will probably bring it over to, say, the Switch successor or Switch 2 or whatever Nintendo is going to call it. Though I think I think Red Dead Redemption 2 has a better chance being on Nintendo's next system rather than being on the current Switch. I don't doubt in my mind that there would have to be very serious compromises in order to get the game running on the Nintendo Switch, though. Could things have changed? Could there have been some technology to make it a bit easier, though, out there? I mean, it is a possibility, but again, I'm not a game developer, so I really don't have the official answer or anything like that at this time. So overall, I'm leaning towards the most likely that this probably was a typo on the Brazilian rating board's part, though, and they may be referring to the first Red Dead Redemption, not Red Dead Redemption 2. I seriously doubt that Red Dead Redemption 2 could be making its way to the Switch, though I could be wrong on this. If anything, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 has a better shot making its way over to Nintendo's next system than trying to see if they can port the game over to the Nintendo Switch and all. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with basically another retirement going on. This one over at Sony with the retirement of Jim Ryan. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at another retirement that's been happening in the gaming industry, and this one has to do with Jim Ryan. Now, most of you recognize him as he is the CEO and president of Sony, or basically in charge of, a lot of Sony stuff, particularly with the PlayStation brand, though. He is the one who helped work out when Sony launched the PlayStation 5, which has been doing very well with them, but he's also been kind of a controversial figure to a certain degree, with some quotes and some decision making, to be exact. Some of it is making a comment saying that, why would you play like old games or anything like that, to basically moving more towards Western studios than the Japanese studios, though, including shutting down including the one that did the remake of Dark Souls and all. He was also well known for opposing the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal until eventually they signed a 10-year deal to have Call of Duty on the PlayStation and all that stuff. So he's somewhat of a controversial figure to a certain degree, depending on who you're asking, though. He even earned the nickname Lying Ryan or Crying Jim or anything like that. But there's no doubt of his contribution and his contribute into the gaming world and all, whether it's good or bad. Well, apparently this week we learned that he has announced that he will be officially retiring from PlayStation all when he originally started back in 1994 before becoming president in 2019. In an article from The Verge, it reads that, quote, one second. All right, okay, here we go. Jim Ryan, the head of PlayStation and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, is stepping down. In a press release on Wednesday, Sony announced that Ryan will retire in March of 2024, while Sony's group corporate president and chief operating officer Hiro Tokoa, if I'm saying the name correctly, will take on the interim CEO role starting April 1st, 2024. After 30 years, I've made the decision to retire from SIE in March 2024. I relish the opportunity to have a job I love in a very special company working with great people and incredible partners, Ryan said in a statement. But I found it increasingly difficult to recoil, if I'm saying the name correctly, living in Europe and working in North America. I will leave having been privileged to work on products that have touched millions of lives across the world. PlayStation will always be part of my life, and I feel more optimistic than ever about the future of Sony Interactive Entertainment, though. So it will be very interesting to see who will take Jim Ryan's place and whether they will continue doing some of the stuff that Jim Ryan sort of built up or sort of set in motion during his tenure as president, or if there is certainly going to be maybe a change in some of the stuff that he has put out and all that stuff. So there's no doubt about it that he certainly has left his mark, to be exact. Some folks may agree with some of the decisions he did. Some may consider some of the stuff he did is considered controversial. So there's no doubt that there's going to be some mixed opinion about some of the decisions he made at Sony and all. But I mean, for someone who started in 1994, I mean, that's a pretty long time to be working for a company like Sony for a very long time, being there during when the original PlayStation came out and all, though. So there's no doubt that he certainly will leave his mark, though. So it will be very curious, like I said, it will be very curious to see what the new CEO or whoever will take his place will do, whether they will continue the course that Jim Ryan left, or if they do make any shakeups or any changes or anything like that. So time will ultimately tell, but like I said, Jim Ryan certainly has left his mark. So overall, another high-profile person is leaving the gaming world, though different than what Hideki Kamiya is going to do. And there's no doubt that there are going to be that he certainly has gotten a mixed response from PlayStation fans and gamers alike. Like I said, some like what he did, others probably didn't. All right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part. And this one has to do with, unfortunately, a second situation with Sony that apparently it has been hacked again. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at an unfortunate situation Sony is in again. And this time is basically Sony just got hacked. Well, again, they were hacked originally back in 2011. Some of that I think had to do with the movie The Dictator or something like that, because of, that whole parody about going after, the North Korea dictator and everything like that. And supposedly a lot of information was, I think, spilled out or anything like that. Or that might have been a different situation, though. But in either case, though, this was a unfortunate situation for Sony. And, well, apparently it seems as though this happened again the second time and all, though. And from an article posted on Video Games Chronicles, it reads that, quote, Earlier this week, hold on, let me get that out. Right, okay, there you go. Earlier this week, it was reported that ransom group Ransomed.vc was threatening to sell a cache of data allegedly stolen from the Japanese company. This is what they had to say, quote, "We have successfully compromised all of Sony's systems," the group claims, "on both Clear and Darknet. We won't ransom them. We will sell the data due to Sony wanting to pay. Data is for sale." In response to these claims, though, Sony told IGN, "We are currently investigating the situation and we have no further comment at this time." While Ransom.vc claims remains unverified, Cybersecurity Connected reported that the relatively ransomware newcomer has racked up an impressive amount of victims since bursting onto the scene last month. It also said the group has posted some proof of hacked data, including what appears to be a screenshot of an internal Sony login page, an internal PowerPoint presentation, several Java files, and a file tree that leaks would seem to indicate some 6,000 files. Ransom.vc also listed post due of September 28, which is presumably when it will publish the data wholesale if nobody purchased it, though. So, if this report is basically true, yeah, not exactly a good situation. To be exact, though, I think a lot of concerns could personal information have been leaked out, though, or people's maybe credit card information, especially if they're using, basically, the PlayStation Store and everything like that. So this is not definitely a good sign. And the fact that this happened supposedly a second time and all, you do kind of have to wonder if Sony really did anything to try to address this concern from the beginning, though. And the fact that I think they did have to apologize at one point, though. So yeah, this is not very good for Sony and all. Hopefully this does get resolved, though. But yeah, it would be very bad if a lot of the personal information, especially if some of these folks really did get out, though. One thing I do want to point out about this hack is that the timing of this whole situation kind of seems, well, odd and interesting, because a lot of this is coming around the same time it was announced about Jim Ryan's retirement. Now, some are speculating or making the claims that the two might be connected, that the fact that basically Jim Ryan's being let go because of this situation. And while it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, I do think that Jim Ryan's retirement was in the works well before this whole situation happened. So I personally don't think there's any connection between the two. I agree the timing is a little bit odd in a way, though, but I certainly do not think there's any connection between Jim Ryan retiring and the Sony hack that basically happened, though. Again, I could be wrong on this. I'm not saying I may not be 100% right on it. I just don't think that there is a connection at all. But in either case, this certainly is not great news for Sony, though, and hopefully this does get resolved soon, and I'm hoping no one's personal information has been leaked or anything like that. So overall, not a great news for Sony to be hacked supposedly the second time, though. This is certainly not something that they want, to be exact. So, but like I said, I'm hoping this does get resolved, hopefully in a positive way and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Hideki Kamiya leaving Platinum? Do you think it was the right time for him to leave Platinum Games? Do you think he should have stayed at Platinum? Do you think some of it could have been maybe there were some internal issues, like something to do with Project GG that he was working on? So, or do you think it was just he decided, it was time to move on to do other things or something else in the gaming industry and all? What are your thoughts about this report of Red Dead Redemption 2 at one point coming to the Switch, but it doesn't seem likely that is the case? Do you think this is just a typo and maybe they're just referring to the first Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, though? Do you think that Red Dead Redemption could make its way to the Nintendo Switch? Or do you believe most likely it would probably maybe end up on, the Switch successor or Switch 2 or Nintendo's next platform? What are your thoughts about Jim Ryan retiring from Sony? Do you think it was the right time for him to retire, though? Do you think he was a controversial figure in any way at Sony? Did you agree with some of the stuff he did while he was president of Sony Interactive Entertainment? Do you disagree with a lot of stuff that he did? And what are your thoughts about this Sony hack? How bad do you think this hack is? And do you think that it's a little worrisome that Sony didn't... We're worrisome that it does give the impression that Sony may have not done enough to try to avoid it the first time around. Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, so you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!